Raise your hand if you grew up being afraid that Freddy Krueger was going to come out of the foot of your bed. Welcome to the Dave Cave. I, as always, am Dave, and today we are talking the very last outing of Robert Englund as the man himself, Freddy Krueger, and that is Wes Craven's New Nightmare. New Nightmare features the return of all kinds of people. You have Wes Craven coming back to direct. Obviously, it's Wes Craven's New Nightmare. You have Heather Langenkamp as Nancy. You have John Saxon coming back to play her father. Like I said, this is the last outing for Robert Englund playing Freddy Krueger, but also he plays himself. And yes, they all play themselves in this movie. And then you have the addition of Nancy's son, but not really Nancy's son, Miko Hughes. And yeah, we're going to talk about him. And the movie is basically a Nightmare on Elm Street movie about making a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. All the actors, like I said, they play themselves. And what this is it gives you an idea as to why Wes Craven made the movies. And features a return of Freddy, not in terms of a movie, but Freddy and how he could come back and be actually in our reality. It's a little twisty, but it's a whole lot of fun. And with this movie being a lot of fun, there isn't a lot that I don't like. So let's get right into the good. The first thing I want to talk about that I like in this movie, it's a complete inverse to how I feel about the original Nightmare on Elm Street. And that is, I like Heather Langenkamp in this movie. I think she's strong. I think she's badass. Her acting is way better. And just overall, she is a strong final girl. Throughout, she does not feel like a victim, really in any sense of the word. Sometimes she feels out of control, and sometimes she doesn't know what's going on. She goes to other people for counsel, and she feels helpless at times. But she never feels like a victim. She always is trying to figure it out. She's not just letting this world happen to her. She's trying to figure out, what's going on with Freddy? Why am I having Freddy dreams? Holy shit, my dreams are starting to, become a reality, and I'm talking to John, and I'm talking to Wes, and I'm trying to figure it all out. And then when it comes time to actually handling her business, she handles her business. She goes after Freddy. She goes to save her son. I mean, shit. I mean, that's final girl right there. Heather Langenkamp in this movie, that's Nancy. Oh, love it. I love Heather in this movie. And the flip side of that coin is the next thing I want to talk about that I like is Freddy. Pretty much everything about Freddy I like in this movie. I understand that his look isn't traditional, but I love his look in this movie. I like that they decided that it's going to be a different Freddy. Even Wes talks about it, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But Wes talks about the idea that this isn't Freddy. This isn't the Freddy that he made in these movies. It's this demon that he encapsulated in these movies, and that demon started to like Freddy. So it takes on the form of Freddy. So this is a twist on that. This is what that demon would want Freddy to be. He's got 5 claws instead of 4. He's got the trench coat. He's got a green hat. His look is different. It's more muscly and it's sharper. His look is a lot sleeker, a lot more badass. I don't know if that's supposed to be kind of with the times, but I like that it's a different kind of Freddy because it is a different kind of Freddy. I like Freddy in this movie all over the place. I think his look is great. I think his attitude is great. They go back to the roots of what makes him spooky, what makes him scary. And genuinely, he's a scary dude in this movie. And he's messed up. He's got that dark humor again. And we're going to get to that a little bit more later too. But everything I like about Freddy, this movie captures that very well. And capping off the trifecta of the actors that I want to talk about in this movie, Miko Hughes. That kid is awesome in this movie. Again, using the word awesome. I use the word awesome a lot. It's an awesome word. But Miko Hughes in this movie, he's so good. You feel so much for this kid. And when he's getting messed with in all different kinds of ways, when he's doing the sleepwalking, and he wakes up and he's screaming, and he's doing the whole Freddy thing, and he tapes the knives to his fingers. It's all very messed up stuff. And when he climbs the tower in the playground, and he falls off, and he says, God wouldn't take me. I mean, shit, man, break your heart. Every time that I see Miko Hughes on the screen in this movie, and it has been a minute, I will say, it's been a minute since I've watched New Nightmare. But since watching New Nightmare, and yeah, I'm learning that this has affected me more and more as a horror fan, I see my son in Dylan. And holy shit, man, I put my little boy in those shoes and picture him in that. Miko Hughes, you crushed that, man. You really did. And the last thing I want to talk about that I like in this movie is Wes Craven's backstory. Really, the lifeblood that really makes this movie tick is the idea, and I mentioned it a little bit ago, that Wes Craven created these stories and captured the essence of this demon in the form of Freddy Krueger. I like the idea that he's writing this story, he's starting to have dreams again, and it's affecting everybody in the cast. Robert Englund's having nightmares, the two dudes get killed at the beginning of the movie, and you find out that they actually did get killed from Nancy's dream. Freddy's in Nancy's dreams, Freddy's in Wes's dreams, he's in everybody's dreams, he's in everything. And this idea that Wes Craven, for us, for all of humanity, captured this demon in the form of Freddy, I love it. And I like the little commentary that they have that the series got watered down. It got easy to consume. It got weak. The representation of Freddy wasn't scary anymore. So Freddy, or the demon that really possessed the idea of Freddy, would get stronger and able to break out. And what that needed was a strong story to put him back in there. I love that because that's exactly what this movie does. And as I said before, this movie is a proper send-off for the original Freddy Krueger. And yes, I know, they bring back Freddy Krueger for Freddy vs. Jason. And we're actually going to talk about that, but that's a whole different review. Hold on for that one. Now that I'm done praising New Nightmare, there is one thing that I got to get off my chest. So let's dive into the bad. Yes, my bad column, it's just one thing, and that's the ending. Now, the ending is cool. It has some cool visuals. The way it kind of unfolds, you have the whole Hansel and Gretel callback to earlier in the movie where Nancy's following Dylan using the sleeping pills to go down, through the foot of his bed. That's all cool. Cool little visuals, and you get the whole visuals of what they were shooting at the beginning of the movie. It all ties back in together. I dig that. I like that. Freddy going after Dylan, not knowing where he's at. I like all that. I like the way that all plays out. What I don't like is really the climax of that whole encounter. You have this whole just terrible demon captured in this Freddy mythos. And you get to finally killing him. And it's just fire. It really is. I know, like I said, it's a Hansel and Gretel callback to them reading his bedtime story earlier in the movie. That's fine. But really, at the end of the day, just burning him, and then him turning into this kind of devil thing, and then being fine. That's the end of the story. It doesn't really... The weight of that doesn't really match up to what the weight of this dream demon Freddy is supposed to be. There's nothing special about the kill. There's nothing to me that says that really does it. Now, a case could be made that it doesn't need to actually be destroying Freddy. But what it does is it gives a climax to the story as a whole, and that having that final story, as Wes, she has the whole script at the end of the movie and she starts reading it to Dylan, by completing that story and giving Freddy a death scene, that is what captures him, that it's not necessarily about defeating him, it's about capturing him. I could get behind that, maybe, but if you're saying that that's how they defeat him, that's how they destroy him, yeah, it's pretty weak for me. And now it is time for the blood, the guts, the five-finger claw punches, the ugly. The kills in New Nightmare really are nothing to write home about, which is interesting because, you look at the rest of the franchise, the kills are insane. They're visuals all over the place. Let's try this, let's try that, and have all kinds of crazy shit and different ways of killing kids in these movies. In this one, aside from one, they're pretty straightforward, and they're not a lot. You get the two guys, you get Chase, you get Julie. There's really nothing crazy. You get the opening kill, which, that's cool. It's a very cool kill. The idea of having the mechanical hand, great visual, stab, stab, claw, stab, awesome. And then you have the Chase kill, which, Actually gives me kind of Dan vibes from Dream Child. Just the fact that they're both in a pickup. It feels a lot of the same way, completely different execution, and the kills are different, but it felt a lot of the same. A much simpler kill, but still pretty cool. And that leads me into my award for favorite kill of the movie, and that goes to Julie. She's in the hospital with Dylan. They've given Dylan sleeping medication to try to get him to go to sleep, and in him falling asleep, Freddy is able to come out and kill her. It is absolutely a callback to the Tina kill. You can't deny it in any way, shape, or form. It is a callback to the Tina kill, which I like the Tina kill. It's iconic. It's awesome. What I like so much about this one is that in the Tina kill, Rod can't see what's going on. He's just seeing Tina flipped all over this place. What's so messed up about it in this one is this Freddy demon is fucking with Dylan. Because Freddy can see Dylan, Dylan can see Freddy. He sees exactly what's going on. Freddy drags her up, claws her all up, kills her in front of him. Super dark stuff. Like, to be messing with a kid like that, obviously Freddy gets off on that, and he likes being Freddy. Wes talks about that. But damn, man, like, torturing a kid in this scene. Shit. No puns on this one. Julie, you get the award for Babysitter of the Year, hands down. And now we're going to get into my final thoughts for Wes Craven's New Nightmare. With everything I said in the good column, there's a lot that I do like about this movie that's more subtle. Like, I like the idea of Rexy. The idea of that this is a totem of security, and that because Dylan believes that Rexy is keeping Freddy down. Because he has that belief, Rexy's actually keeping Freddy down. He's working against Freddy. I like that. It calls back to the idea that we give Freddy his power. Through our fear, we're the ones that control how strong Freddy is. And because Dylan believes that Rexy is stronger than Freddy, Freddy can't stop it. Freddy can't get past that. It's a cool little concept. I love the shit out of it. And the next little concept kind of like that is when the realities start to blend with the movie and the real reality in this movie. When you get John starting to call Heather Nancy, and that Freddy's getting stronger, and that whole scene that evolves into really them being back in an Elm Street movie. Now, I haven't watched this movie in a while, like I said, and it gave me chills when I watched it on this last watch because I'm, trying to pay attention. But in that scene, you have that whole evolution. Why are you calling me Nancy, John? Why are you calling me John, Nancy? I love that. But then, when Nancy finally accepts, okay, this is what I got to do. I have to accept that this is going on so that I can get to Freddy. I have to fight him. I have to get this over with. And she accepts and calls John Saxon Daddy. Then the Nightmare on Elm Street theme hits for the first time in the movie. And it's awesome because that is, boom, you're in a Nightmare on Elm Street movie, finally. I mean, it's a whole Nightmare on Elm Street movie for all of this, but the movie itself, there's no dual realities, there's no nothing. You are in a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. I love that. And it's not perfect, but this is definitely one that I've watched more than most of the Nightmare series. And while Robert Englund does come back for Freddy vs. Jason, this really marks the end of the original Nightmare on Elm Street series as we knew it. But that doesn't end the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. That ends with the 2010 remake. My review for the remake is going to be coming out on Friday, so be on the lookout for that. And while you're waiting, if you haven't already, go watch the rest of the Nightmare on Elm Street series as I reviewed it. I have links to all that in the description below. Be sure to go check that out. And while you're down there, I have links to my Instagram and Twitter. They're both at @TheDaveCave_. Post over there when I'm not posting here. And that is going to do it for me today. I will see you all real soon for the remake. But until then, take care.